tonight. Obviously, had a really good night against Lucy compared to the last time you guys saw her. Did you do anything different defensively tonight, or just shots not falling as well for her?
Yeah, I always think it involves two things. When you do a pretty good job on somebody, you need a little bit of help from them. And I thought we worked really really hard. We obviously it's not easy. She's a terrific player and hard to guard. And the fouls that we were dealing with, and Nika being out for a little while. Um, yeah, the strategy wasn't any different this time than it was last time. You just work really really hard, try to make it hard for them to get the ball, try to make it hard for her to get to where she's going, and then miss when she shoots. That's the best strategy.
Leah was really tested physically today. How have you seen her just grow in that aspect of her game and being smart with her physicality?
Yeah, I think she got a little bit frustrated at times. You know, there are times when teams will um, let you play the way you want to play. And obviously part of our game plan is we got a pretty good post player that we can throw the ball to, and so we try to do that as often as we can. And then there's other teams that are just going to say, you're going to have to beat us a different way tonight. And I thought Leah did a really good job of keeping it simple, not try to do too much. Um, but she had to work her brains out for whatever she got. And defensively, that, it does take its toll on you too. You know how much you got to chase these guys around the whole game. So I thought when they cut it to 7, I thought we showed a lot. We went on a really good run after that. So I was really proud of them.
Geno, Paige had 31 tonight. She only trails Maya Moore in terms of UConn Huskies players, their points average over the course of their career. How is Paige kind of unique or similar to some of the great scorers that you've coached over the years?
They have a knack for putting the ball in the basket. Some kids grow up knowing how to hit a baseball. They just know, and then all they need is a little bit of practice. And other kids, they just need a little bit of practice, but they know how to score. They know how to get the ball in the basket, and all of them spend a lot of time on the court perfecting that, and not just a shot from one spot, a shot from anywhere under any circumstances or any conditions. So, yeah, you don't score a lot of points unless you are gifted and you work really, really hard at your craft.
Geno, you've been really big on Paige making sure she's a score first player for you instead of trying to make the perfect pass or the easy passes. She scored 31 points and didn't have an assist tonight. Does that represent some success on that front?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's no mystery, right? I mean, there's people that are going to get double teamed, and you're surprised if they're not. So we know that Aiyah is going to get double teamed every night, and when she's not, it's surprising. We know Paige is going to get on every ball screen. She's going to get trapped, or she's going to get some sort of double team. And when that happens, and people get open or whatever, she's going to find them one way or another. She'll find them. But she'll only find them if they really, really think Paige is trying to score every time she touches the ball. That she's putting that kind of pressure, mental and actual physical pressure, on the other team. And little by little, she's getting better at that. Like the last play of the first half, when we set up the last shot, and we set up a 2-man game, her and Aaliyah. And I remember saying to her when she went out, when we called it, said, listen, we're going to set a screen for you. They're going to have their smallest player guarding you. And what I want you to do is with the shot clock running down, I want you to throw it to somebody else. That would be a hell of a play, right? What other great player in America do you think would do that? None. So we still got a long way to go on that.
Geno, Paige was 11 for 15. The rest of the team was 13 for 39. Obviously, Aiyah had a good game, but how concerned are you about finding that third person as you head into the postseason?
They're either going to be there or they're not. I said before, right now we're not shooting the ball as well we were shooting it, a while back, and that comes and goes. And sometimes the immaturity of players shows up when they're not making shots, and it affects them instead of understanding that it's part of the game. Sometimes the ball doesn't go in. My concern more is making sure that we get enough touches by everybody else that they have opportunities to make shots. Then if they make them, they make them. If they don't, they don't. There's nothing you can do about it. So our focus is on, let's just make sure we're getting them good shots, and then you can't control the rest. So it's the nature of the game.
Geno, at halftime, most of your players, a wide majority, were on the athletic director's honor roll, and it's a good mix. You're true freshmen, you're All-American seniors. To be well represented like that, what does that mean to you, and what does that mean to how they represent the program?
We've always taken great pride in what we do on and off the court. Since day one when I got here, CD and I sat down and we said, this is how we're going to do things. And we haven't wavered. We haven't changed one bit from 1985. So there may be some kids we don't recruit. There may be some kids that, we should have recruited, or whatever the case may be. But if you're coming to play basketball at the University of Connecticut and you're not committed to what's happening the rest of your day, and if academics aren't important to you personally, to your family, to everybody, and you don't take it personally and you don't make that a number one priority, then you're not going to last here, generally speaking. First, we're going to try not to take somebody like that. And then second, when you do get here, we're going to do everything we can to help you. And then you've got to do the rest. And the fact that they put so much time and effort into it, given the travel schedule and everything else, it says a lot about them. And, as individuals, that their priorities are in order.
Is it still hard to find those kind of kids? And my second thing is, Grace Maria was one of the players from the volleyball team that had a 4.0. Are you taking credit for her since she's part of the women's basketball family?
Who is?
Sarah's daughter, Sarah Northway's daughter.
Oh, Sarah Northway's daughter. Yeah, it's in the DNA. Anybody that played here passes it on to their kids. You'd like to think that, right? Yeah, I mean it's quite a. I think it's quite an accomplishment if you go to college and you play, college basketball or any major college sport with all the other demands on it, that you're still able to have the same level of success, and some kids even more so, in the classroom. That means a lot to me, to our program, and it's a promise that you make to their parents, and you want to deliver on it.
You've talked a few times this year about Paige's efficiency. How important is it for her to be this efficient, especially now while you're searching for other shooters? She can go 11 for 15 and carry you, and there are opportunities for other kids.
Well, if Paige was 3 for 15, we would have lost. So I think the pressure that is on her to be efficient makes it even more remarkable that she can pull that off every single night. It's one thing if you know we're going to have 4 players that are going to get 20, but if you know that if you don't get what she got tonight, there's a chance we're going to lose, a good chance. And then you still go out and do it. That's, that's a hell of a thing. I don't know how many kids are in her situation in college. I think Lucy's in that situation. There's just some kids playing. There's an awful lot of pressure on them to have to score. They can't afford to miss shots. And some days, it works better than others.
Is her efficiency due to her IQ and she just knows where to shoot the ball from rather than take wild shots? What leads to efficiency like that?
Yeah, you don't take bad shots. You're smart enough to know what's a good shot and what's a bad shot, what's a great shot. And Paige certainly knows that. She knows what's a good shot. She knows what's a great shot. And she stays away from just ridiculous. That's why her shooting percentage is so high. You get a kid like that. I'm sure there's other kids in the country that score a lot of points, take a lot of shots. And I would like to see what their shooting percentages are.
You mentioned the past couple of years that Leah's biggest issue was consistency. She seemed to have fixed that this year. What do you think is the biggest reason for that?
Well, you can't be inconsistent your whole life, right? At some point, you have to, you have to work at it, and you have to apply yourself, and that's usually how it happens. And then you got to give the same effort every single night, every day in practice. That's where it starts. So even days when you struggle, like she did today, because of how they're playing you, you can still get a lot done. I mean, that doesn't mean you can't rebound. So she still got a double-double. And that just comes from hard work. That's it. That's the only thing, People that work really, really hard, they usually get what they work for.
Q had a pretty good day off the bench today.
Q.
Yeah, how did you feel like she handled, having to take some extended minutes when Nico went down?
Yeah. Well, when Q goes in, you know she's going to make something happen. What it is, I'm not quite sure, but something's going to happen. And here's the danger, I think, of some kids and young kids especially. They're brought up in the basketball world thinking if I score more, I'll play more. And I've always said to the kids in our team when they first get here, I say, you can't shoot your way into our lineup. Generally speaking, on normal years, you can't shoot your way into our lineup. If you don't do the other things, if you don't, so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to learn that, but, so to Paige's credit, she knows she can impact the game without scoring. Q's young, and she thinks she has to score to impact the game. And as that starts to, wane, she'll become an even more impactful player.
With the number of fouls that Aiyah drew tonight, is that just a product of the development that you were talking about? Is that a specific thing that she works on?
Villanova's they're physical as hell, and they're an aggressive team and they're a tough bunch, and so they make it very difficult for you to get what you want, and it doesn't matter whether it's Aiyah or anybody else. So being physical like that and being patient and not just getting caught up and throwing anything up there. In order to get fouled, you have to be aggressive and you have to be physical and you have to be patient. And that comes from maturity And obviously the last couple of years, you've seen the change in Aiyah from sophomore year.
What happened with Nika? It looked like maybe she took a knee to the back
Yeah.
of the leg or something, and is she
Yeah, she. One kid was running in, maybe to go get the ball or go get an inbounds pass or something. I don't know. We had just scored or something happened. I don't know. Yeah, and she turned around and run this way. The kid was running this way and caught her with her knee. And those are painful, when you get hit like in a certain spot in your thigh, and it's like on the side of her leg. But she's fine. She's going to be okay. Thanks, everybody.